People have real problems, Jae Bae. Hey guys, it's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. So, this week in entitled Whack Jobs on the Internet, we are taking a look at the fetching creature known as Jaylyn Cheney, or more commonly known on social media as Jae Bae. You know who she is. She is the plus size travel vlogger who came up with a petition in April of 2023 where she put a petition on change.org demanding the FAA to protect plus size customers. She is apparently full-time travel blogger, content creator, freelance writer, and disability advocate. She has her own production company called Jae Bae Productions. And to that I say good for her. If the internet is to believe, she graduated from Washington State University in 2018 with a bachelor's in business administration and management. And in the year 2019, she graduated from Western Governors University with a master's in business management, marketing, and related support services. So good for her. She's educated, she's out there in the world, she seems to be working for herself, and she's making money as a travel vlogger. So that's great. I say, get it, sis. However, Miss Jae Bae is a bit of a problem because this young lady is extremely overweight. And when I say extremely, she doesn't look very tall. I don't know how tall she is. I couldn't find how tall she is. But she looks like she's pushing 5 bills. And she, being a travel vlogger, covers a lot of issues that fat travelers come across. So the first thing I wanted to look at with her, one of the first things you notice about her is that she wears oxygen. And of course, I, like many people, assumed she wears oxygen because of her weight. But I did look it up, and she actually has a lung condition called pulmonary hypertension. Here is a little TikTok that she made about this.
I actually get this question all the time, especially being somebody in a larger body. A lot of people assume that I have oxygen because of my weight or something like that. The reason I actually wear oxygen is because I have a rare lung disease. It is called pulmonary hypertension, not to be mistaken with high blood pressure. It is an actual lung disease that affects a lot of people. Weight is not really a factor that goes into it. It affects a lot of babies. It affects people of all ages, and they don't really know what causes it. So I wear oxygen because my oxygen levels don't stay high unless I'm wearing it. And so, yeah, I have pulmonary hypertension, rare lung disease, which is why I wear oxygen.
Okay, so I'm not a doctor, but according to the Mayo Clinic, pulmonary hypertension is a type of high blood pressure that affects the arteries in the lungs and the right side of the heart. In one form of pulmonary hypertension, called pulmonary arterial hypertension, blood vessels in the lungs are narrowed, blocked, or destroyed. The damage slows blood flow through the lungs. Blood pressure in the lung arteries goes up, and the heart must work harder to pump blood through the lungs. The extra effort eventually causes the heart muscle to become weak and fail. So this girl, who has a chronic, serious, life-threatening lung condition, has no problem with continuing to gain weight. And I saw a video of her recently where she was talking about her airline problems and how she takes up 1.5 seats as a 6X. She is currently a size 6X. And she was talking about how when I was a 4X and a 5X, I took up about 1.5 seats. And so I'm not taking up all that much more room as a 6X. That means that she has continued to gain weight. She's only 27 years old. So all of this has not come, the shit has not hit the fan completely yet with her, basically. But if you had a lung condition, which I think she has only had the lung condition, since she's been an adult as far as diagnosis and stuff, wouldn't you try to lose weight? You are morbidly obese. Your heart is already having to work hard just because of this condition that you're working with. And I'm assuming that that's her disability that she talks about, because she does talk about being fat and being disabled as two different things, which is true. You can be fat without being disabled, and you can be disabled without being fat, and you can be fat and disabled. However, if you have this lung condition and you have to bring oxygen on planes with you, which is not an easy thing to do. I only know that because my dad had COPD and tried to fly with his oxygen, and it was a giant disaster. This is going back a while, but anyway, wouldn't you try and lose weight? Wouldn't you just try? Wouldn't you at least not eat trash all the time and keep gaining weight? Because she is continuing to gain weight. So Jae Bae is also part of the body positivity movement, which I guess means, she just doesn't give a shit about her weight. She just, is going to love herself no matter how ginormous she gets. So let's take a look at a video of hers called How to Be Confident. Okay, I have to say, look at this. Look at the size of her. She she's 27 now. So this video, I'm not sure how old it is, but let's say it's a year or two old or older, early 20s she is in this video. How do you get to be this size in your early 20s unless you have been fat since childhood? So that already denotes, problems in the home. And I know I've seen I've seen some shorts of hers where she talks about her family drama, trauma, stuff like that. She's obviously got something going on. She's got a bad relationship with food. We can clearly see that. However, she's just used to it. That's the problem that I have as a middle-aged chick bitching on the internet. That's the problem that I have with these fat acceptance people, is that they're just so used to it. It seems normal to them. And I'm not giving weight loss advice, but look at this girl. I mean, look at her. She is absolutely round, and she looks like she's suffocating in her own body. It's fucking tragic. I mean, this is tragic. And she's now, okay, so she's advocating for plus size people in the travel industry. And if you haven't seen her video with her petition, I'll probably do something on that later. But there's a gazillion videos out there of people reacting to it because it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. She goes on about how she wants hallways widened and elevators made to carry heavier weights and beds that are made to carry heavier people, and bigger plane seats and free seats for plus size people. And as far as I know, Southwest Airlines already has a customer of size policy where they kick people out of their seats. People that have paid for seats are kicked out so that they can be given for free to people of Jalen's size. And it's the normalization of this that many of us have a problem with. And if you notice, I follow a lot of other content creators who give commentary on this kind of thing, and they all tend to be about my age. Alan Roberts, for instance, Priscilla P is a reaction channel I've talked about before. She's about my age. The Body Honesty Project. All of us are Gen X, basically. So we're like these these middle-aged people, basically jumping up and down and screaming and waving our arms in the air online saying, no, 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 this is not good. This is not good. We need to do something about this because this is not sustainable. We cannot have people of such a young age walking around looking like this and thinking that it's okay and it's normal. What's going to happen to her in a few years when she passes 30, if she makes it to 35? I that the end game, I guess, is like my main thing. What is the fucking end game with this? What do you just keep loving yourself as is and eating crap until you become bedbound, and then you're gonna petition for your hospital bed to be allowed on the airplane so you can do your travel vlogging? Okay, I'll shut up now.
Being able to recognize that you are amazing and what makes you amazing and what assures you that you are good enough to chase whatever dreams you have, to go.
Yeah, if you can. How can you chase your dreams when you're this size? I mean, you dream of being a travel vlogger, obviously, Jae Bae, and you have achieved that. So good for you. I don't know what this girl's story is. I have no idea. She could be a trust fund kid. She could be from a rich family. I have no idea what her story is. If anyone knows, please do drop it down in the comments, or if you have any links, I would love to learn more about her, because I really want to know, like, how does someone who is in their 20s think this is okay? You know, this is not okay for anyone any age to be this size. Now, I understand she could have a genetic propensity toward obesity. She could have been raised by people who didn't know any better and just fed her processed crap, because you don't look like this without eating a shit ton of processed crap. I mean, we all can admit to that, right? Nobody gets this fat eating whole foods. You just couldn't do it. You couldn't eat that much to make this happen. It's, oh, God, I feel like I'm screaming
After
into the
whatever
wind.
goals you have. It's the confidence to live your best life. And confidence comes in so many different forms and it leads to so many different results, right? Maybe you want body confidence. You want to feel confident enough in your body to wear whatever you want. Maybe you want to show your arms for the first time. Maybe you want to wear a pair of shorts. And first off, before we get really far into this video, I want to just say I'm a plus size content creator. For me personally, I have been plus size my entire life. So the perspective I have on confidence comes from the perspective of how I've lived. It's almost like walking in my shoes. And so know that this video is not intended for only plus size people. You can be whatever size and be wanting to work on your confidence, trying to build confidence for the first time, and anything in between. Nobody.
Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely fantastic. Everyone should work on their confidence. Everyone should feel comfortable in their skin. So see, she just said she's been overweight her whole life, so it's just normal to her. It's she doesn't look in the mirror and go, "Holy shit, I got to do something." You know? I mean, most people, they start out fairly normal, I would think. I was a normal kid with food until my family drama happened and I started using sugar as a drug. But back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, 20 pounds overweight was overweight. That's when the bullying started and all that bullshit. And back in the day, you didn't get to go and be homeschooled, so you didn't get bullied. You had to suck it up and accept that there are standards in society. That's why the airplane seats are a certain size, because that's the standard. And yes, I know the airlines made the seats smaller because they want to fit more people in there and they want to make more money, and that's how capitalism works, so that's their right. But you don't see a bunch of like 7 feet tall dudes petitioning for bigger seats. And that's something that they can't help. No one can help their height. But this girl is so entitled, and being obese is now become so common because of the proliferation of fast food everywhere and processed crap everywhere you go, that it's becoming normal, particularly in the US, to be this size. And that doesn't make it okay. That does not make it okay.
Guarantees confidence. What do I mean by that? Just because someone is in a smaller body doesn't mean that they're automatically confident.
Yeah, that's true. There are plenty of models that have no confidence, that have all kinds of problems. We all know that. We're past that already.
Doesn't mean
Okay,
that they're
let's move on.
automatically not. Just because someone's in a bigger body doesn't mean that they're not confident, and it doesn't mean that they can't be confident. So the size of one's body does not determine the confidence level. I know people who are in smaller bodies who don't have any confidence and struggle with different things like maybe body dysmorphia or anything like that. And I know girls that are my size or bigger that are the most confident people I've ever met before.
Yeah, and if you're confident and you love yourself, you would be constantly working to become the best version of yourself. Not accepting that, well, I've been overweight my whole life, so I'm just doomed to be this size and it's okay. And I'm just going to keep gaining weight until what? You explode? I mean,
So it really has nothing to do with size. It does not matter what size you are. This video is for everybody. I'm making this video for anyone who wants to build upon their confidence and feel good in the skin they're in. You know that you're capable of anything and you'll go for it. I started out with absolutely no confidence, in my opinion. From the age of 7, I can remember my first fat phobic experience, which it was someone else's opinion. And we all know that opinions of others a lot of the time can affect how someone feels about themselves.
absolutely true. Absolutely. We all have stories of adults who told us things when we were young, and we believe them because we think when you're a kid, you think adults know everything. I was just saying that to my mother. I thought she completely knew what she was doing when I was a kid. Boy, was I
And we're going to
wrong.
talk about that. Right now, as I sit here, I can confidently say that I am at the most confident I have ever been in my life. I'm at my biggest that I've ever been in life, and I have a chronic illness that was just diagnosed with less than 2 years ago that requires me to wear oxygen.
So I read somewhere that she got the diagnosis in 2019, the same year she got her master's degree. So it hasn't been that long. And she has gotten bigger since then, has not even tried to lose weight, apparently. She's got a life threatening lung condition. And yet she thinks it's okay to just be 400 or 500 pounds. Wouldn't it make it easier on her heart if she lost some weight? I mean, just stop eating crap, just stop eating processed food. It doesn't have to be some huge lifestyle change. Although, in this case, she would merit a huge lifestyle change, but she's too busy being confident as she is, apparently. I guess that's the fat acceptance thing, is you just like aggressively present yourself to the world and be confident as your morbidly obese self, and are not interested in changing it at all, not interested in improving at all. However, you can gain weight, which you inevitably will if you keep eating the way you do, Jae Bae, because she's already gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and now she's a 6X. Where do you go from there?
I have that going on, but I'm at my most confident that I've ever been. So that should show you that it truly has nothing to do with size, but it was a journey getting here. When I think about my confidence journey, I think about time when I hated my body. At 7 years old is when I started experiencing fat phobia for the first time that I can actually remember, and the first time it had a real impact on me. Sadly, it was from a family member, and we will talk about that in later videos too. I plan on getting all into my life story, and I plan on telling you and talking about how family can a lot of the times instill that fat phobia in you that makes you have insecurities and things that leads to you not being confident.
Okay, I want to hear her story. I do want to hear it because I grew up constantly hearing from my mother, who was also always trying to lose weight and who is tiny and fit. I grew up from my dance teacher and from my riding instructor, constantly on me about losing weight, losing weight, losing weight. I'm not saying that's good. I think that things were difficult back then, bordering on child abuse. But at least there was a standard. There was an acceptable way to be in the world. Now, with the fat acceptance movement, where is the end? That's the question I'm asking. Where is the end? Where is it like too fat? When you can't get out of bed? When you can't walk? I mean, this girl says that she just put a video up recently where she says she ordered a wheelchair assistance at the airport because she had to walk up this long jet bridge to get to the airplane. And the person who works at the airport saw the size of her and basically turned around and was like, nope, and took off with the wheelchair. And Jae Bae was chasing her, saying, hey, I really need to sit down. I can't breathe. Okay, she's got a lung condition, but her body weight is a problem. It is adding to the problem. How she can't see that, it's beyond me. And she says that when she finally got up The jet bridge, which she can walk, she can move, she can get herself from place to place, but walking up a jet bridge caused her lips to go white because she doesn't have the lung capacity to get oxygen to her massive body. How this has not connected in her brain to think, really, if I lost like 250 pounds, if she lost 50 pounds, she'd be better off. Okay, so finally, we're going to watch a couple of Jae Bae's more recent TikToks because they absolutely merit watching for sheer ridiculousness.
On the first leg of the trip, the wheelchair assistance completely failed us. I was left struggling to be okay. There is a video.
By the way, uh, the AI voice, no. You're going to tell your story, sit in front of the camera and tell your story. I mean, she's got, her fiance or whoever it is with her filming her to make these little videos for Jae Bae Productions. She can use her own voiceover at least.
About the incident on my page. That experience was already stressful and humiliating enough. So by the time it was time to fly home, I decided to have my fiance push me in the wheel.
Why couldn't he push her up the jet bridge? I mean, that's, I've seen a bunch of videos asking that very question. Why can't he just push her in the wheelchair? Why does she have to have, by the way, this is one of my worst pet peeves ever, is when people say, oh, I'll just have so and so do such and such. No, you can fucking ask. You will not have me do anything. You can ask me to do something. But this is how entitled she is. I think that just smacks of entitlement. She's going to have her fiance push her up the jet bridge. Fucking ridiculous.
Wheelchair to avoid any more mishaps. Picture this, me, a plus-size woman in a wheelchair, pushing my suitcase with one hand while my fiance did their best to steer.
What's the problem with that? He's pushing, by the way, he's massive too. She said that he's also a 6X. So they get 3 seats in a row together. They buy 3 seats and the two of them fill up the 3 seats. So he can push her in the wheelchair and she's holding onto her suitcase. What is the problem? She makes it sound like she's, poor her, the victim, living in some horrible war-torn third world country in a demilitarized zone, starving to death. People have real problems, Jae Bae.
It wasn't the easiest setup, but we were managing. As we were making our way through the terminal, we walked by a group of flight attendants. At first, I thought nothing of it, but then I heard the unmistakable sound of laughter, directed right at us. They didn't even try to hide it. They pointed, laughed, and made snide remarks. And one said, "What the actual fuck?"
So many people have said, like, they just call bullshit on this. This shit never happened. What is there, like a roving gang of rogue flight attendants in the O'Hare airport pointing and laughing at her just because it's a fat girl in a wheelchair with her fat fiance pushing her? I kind of doubt it. And even if there was a bunch of flight attendants standing there and they did laugh at her, so what? That's life. Suck it up. Ignore it. Do something to change your situation so you don't have to go through these things because you know why they're laughing. If you were a normal weight, a less massively obese weight, and you could walk through the airport because you weren't dragging around 300 pounds of extra fat on you, maybe people wouldn't be laughing. Why is it that society is the problem and you should just be allowed to eat whatever you want, be as fat as you want, and have everybody cater to you? What? Okay, here's the last one. This is, I think, her most recent TikTok about her exploits in the O'Hare airport.
Experience at Chicago O'Hare Airport. As a plus-size ambulatory wheelchair user, I faced a significant challenge when trying to get to baggage claim. The only option was to go through a revolving door. We pressed the button to slow it down for people with disabilities, but as soon as we entered, we got stuck. I'm claustrophobic and began to panic, frantically motioning to the staff for help. They just stared at me, offering no assistance.
Because these guys, she got stuck in a revolving door. Everyone has been through a revolving door at the airport. Do you know how ginormous those revolving doors are? If you get stuck in it, I'm sure it was scary. The door stopped. But then she's expecting the fucking airport staff to extricate a 500-pound woman, probably in a wheelchair as well, from the revolving door. Nowhere in their job description does it say you have to do the work of the fire department. This girl is unbelievably entitled. The way she thinks that everyone around her is there to be her EMT when she needs it because of what she's done to herself. It's fucking unreal.
A passerby noticed our struggle and tried to help, but the airport staff remained unresponsive. This was my second terrible experience at O'Hare during just one trip. The
Poor baby. Poor baby. She's privileged to be in one of the most busiest airports in the entire world, coming back from some trip that she has travel vlogged. And she's mad because her fat ass got stuck in the revolving door, and the airport staff, who probably make all of about $17 an hour if they're lucky, wouldn't come and try and rescue her? The world does not exist to rescue you. Suck it up, Jae Bae. You did this to yourself. And you are going to have to figure your way out of it. That's what my fine stepdad said to me when I was a kid. You get yourself into something, you don't call and wake us up. You get yourself out of it. And this girl made herself this size. I mean, I feel for her. She was fat as a kid. Certainly not her fault. But you're an adult now. You're 27 years old. You got to figure this out.
lack of assistance was not only frustrating but dehumanizing, highlighting the necessity for airport staff to treat travelers of all sizes and abilities with the respect and care they deserve.
That is not their job. It is not their job to rescue you when you get yourself into something. Airport staff are not EMTs. They are not the fire department. They do not go to work every day thinking that it's part of their job to pull this massive girl and her massive fiance out of a revolving door. How you could think that they were going to do anything other than call the fire department to get them to show up and help you is ridiculous. This is the kind of society that we are building with this younger generation. It's fucking crazy. This is not acceptable, okay? Middle-aged bitch on the internet says this is not acceptable. Anyway, that's all the Jae Bae I can take for one day, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you lasted till the end, I so appreciate you watching. Love that you guys come and hang out with me every Sunday when I post. And I will see you in the next video.